Hey, what is going on, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk to you all about Blitz. Now, I am a little bit surprised that I'm doing this myself, but with the news that Colleen Wing is going to be a 100 shard Blitz unlock, that means we're actually going to have to go back to this game mode a little bit more seriously. So I want to spend some time going over my Blitz teams that I use, both in order of highest power, but also the ones that are most likely to win in Blitz Sim in Tier 8 and above. Now, I also have a handful of characters that I try to use and round out my crappy characters in order to produce more overall wins, and I'll be sharing this with you as well. Now, I understand that not everyone has every character unlocked or, even leveled up, frankly, so yours might look a little different from mine a little bit, but nevertheless, I still want to share this and hopefully give you guys some tips along the way to maximize your own Blitz score, whether it's for Colleen Wing or just more wins in general for future events that might use this game mode. So, without further ado, let's get this show started. And so for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to stick my webcam here in the middle of the screen. That's because I don't want to block the left or the right so that you can see both my character's scores and the enemy's scores, which will be kind of important, the power anyways. That'll be important later. So to start things off, I do have my teams in order of power. Now this is how I like to do it, from 1 to the end. Some people do it the other way around, with the highest towards the end and the weakest at the start. It doesn't really matter, however, which way you want to organize your own teams. But for me, I put number 1, that's my highest character, my highest team, and that is, of course, my Black Order. So starting off at 723k, which is pretty maxed out. I know not a lot of people, especially coming up the ranks now, is going to have this, but we're going to go through all of them systematically. So team number 2 is my Symbiotes. That is my strongest team there. I guess the team power here on this side doesn't really matter too much right now, but we'll talk about that more later. Third team here is my Marauders. Now, this is with the standard Saber-Tooth Marauders. Now, for Blitz, this is fine. I know for Alliance War and stuff like that, most people sub Saber-Tooth out, but for Blitz, you really want to keep to the traditional teams, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of mismatched characters around, and this just makes it a lot easier to get wins. Team number 4 is my Doc Ock Sinister 6. In this case, it is the Rhino and Mysterio variant, and this is actually my 4th highest team as well. The other characters, unfortunately, you'll see as I get further down the list that it's kind of relegated to my backbenches and makes it a little bit more difficult to use them. There isn't really a great space for them at the moment. Team number 5, Uncanny X-Men. So this is the Psylocke variant. Storm I do use later on as well. 6 as Guardians, of course. 7 Inhumans. 8 BKT or BKT Vision variant, because right now we don't really have a great place for Vision. The Scarlet Witch Vision thing never materialized yet. I don't know if there's a rework coming, but currently this is where I put them. Number 9, this is my Fantastic Four with Namor. 10, Brotherhood 2.0. 11, X-Factor with Red Guardian currently. Now, the reason why I do this, I don't think they need Red Guardian to win. You might be able to put someone else in that position, but the Skeletal team as a whole are actually pretty terrible in Blitz. They have a hard time winning, surprisingly, even with the rework, and typically you want to keep Black Widow with the Wave 1 Avengers in terms of Blitz, which is what I do. So, entirely up to you what you want to do. Once you get Polaris unlocked, free to play through the Strike Pass, you could probably just drop anyone in there and they'll probably still win, because the 4 of them are really, really strong. 12 is my traditional Defenders. This is the old Defenders. Now, not everyone might not have all 5 of the characters leveled up. In the future, I keep Punisher here because, like I said, the Skeletal just still doesn't really win all that well. But Iron Fist and, Daredevil will be eventually shifted to the Shadowland team, which I have a filler spot there for Daredevil, and I guess Punisher will probably get moved out once both Colleen Wing and Misty Knight become available. But I think Daredevil will be the first one to get shifted out, and then when Misty Knight comes out, who I think will be the last person of the patch, we'll push Punisher out, and I'll have to move him somewhere else. Not sure yet. So 13, now this is a new one. This is at 380k. This is a real mismatch team, but this is also basically using Shuri and Kestrel as a base. Now, normally they're good enough to win almost any match as long as you're going up against reasonable opponents. And what I mean by that is, don't pick the Uncanny X-Men. Actually, they might be able to do that. I'm not sure. Let's find out. With Kestrel, okay, turns out they can. So what I mean by questionable, don't choose certain matchups, don't choose Black Order, something that's going to be intentionally challenging. Usually this team has no problems for that, though. In 14, we have a Baron. This is all around Baron Zemo. Now, this is the old traditional Hydra that was meant to go with Baron Zemo when he got when he came out and reworked Winter Soldier and Crossbones and Hydra Grenadier. I have Kingpin. Kingpin's a bit of a floater, but I think he really helps in this lineup, and usually I have no problems winning with that as well. So that works for me. Might not work for everyone, but one of the key things also as well is to try to keep your characters at least reasonably balanced in power. Now, you want to have the better characters at a higher power, not, let's say, the support character like Kingpin. You don't want Kingpin at 100k because that's going to really unbalance the amount of team power that you're fighting on the other side. Now, team number 15, this is my Shadowlands. This is what I was talking about. Nobu is sitting in there, but Daredevil will replace him once Colleen Wing comes out, and I can shuffle Daredevil out of the Defenders, put Daredevil in here, and then Nobu will just go somewhere else. I don't know, maybe with one of my other carries. This is the AIM, traditional AIM here. I mean, I use AIM Security, AIM Assaulter, and AIM Monstrosity because those are my best ones. Take, Scientist Supreme, Graviton, and your best 3. You definitely want to have Security in there, though, if you're using them for Blitz. Pimtech, not too surprising there. Solid, the only 5 Pimtech that are available. X-Force, again, this is pretty standard. Astonishing X-Men, again, also pretty standard. 20, this is my Wave 1 Avengers. Now, again, this is also using Black Widow because I'm not using Skilletary as a whole in Blitz, and I do prefer that 5th slot to go to Coulson because, while some people might use Thor for, say, War Defense or something like that, for Blitz, it's a little bit different. You kind of want to stick to the traditional teams because if I were to put Thor in there, it would break up his Guardians, and I would have to put someone else in there. So, Agent Coulson is an Avenger character, so I like this. There is some synergy there. Black Widow does give speed up and all that to them. So that's fine there. 21, this is my Hero Brawlers, Young Avengers mixed team here. Now, I know Spider-Man, OG Spider-Man is not part of that team, but I did need to put him somewhere. Also, Captain Marvel is not a Young Avengers, but is a Hero Brawler, so synergizes with Miss Marvel in that way. And then Squirrel Girl, America Chavez. So, Miles was dumped out for Captain Marvel, just to make this team a little bit more winnable. I feel that they were kind of lacking and very difficult to win. This one's not on the higher tier of my list. I don't even know if I could beat any of these 3 teams. So in cases like that, I would need to use another team to kind of lose, to kind of work my way up to find different teams. So I'll talk about that a bit more later. So team number 22, I have Power Armor 2.0. I don't know if we call it 2.0 anymore because this is just the Ironheart version. 2.0 was in reference to dumping Vision and then putting Ironheart in, but I think this is just the standard Power Armor at this point now. Team number 23. Now, this is my Silver Surfer carry team. So, what I mean by that is that Silver Surfer really carries this team. He does a huge chunk of the damage, not to mention he's super powerful, and it doesn't matter too much who you're using in this team, but for this reason I'm putting in Gamora and Drax. Drax, taunts on spawn, so that helps Silver Surfer really get going. The others I kind of just dumped in there because of the power, to try to get the power at a reasonable rate. For score, I mean, I can probably show you that, I mean, as you don't really want to go up against Marauders if you can help it, but other teams, like this, like a mixed team, should be no problem. So, there you go. And team number 24, this is my Shield Minion team. Not everyone's going to have this necessarily. I think if you don't have Shield Minions available to you, I would recommend using Nick Fury with Kestrel. That'll probably bump up your chances to win as well, and then just use 3 other characters with them. 25 is the Mark Taskmaster team here, so I'm using Killmonger still in this team. That's fine, because I don't use Killmonger in Skilletary. I dumped him for Black Widow. The Supernatural team is okay, it wins reasonably. The Red Skull Hydra Minion team coming in at 27. 28, now this is my Doctor Doom team. This is like literally, I just put like 4 other characters together. You see like Yelena's there, but that's just to bump up my power score because I can get more Blitz points that way. Yelena does not really do a good job, and like I said, Skilletary as a whole is not a very good Blitz team. So I just kind of put these in here. This carries She-Hulk, AIM Researcher, and Ravager Boomer, and Doctor Doom does all the heavy lifting. I mean, I can just, doesn't even matter. I could probably go in Symbiotes and I should be able to win. I didn't! Okay, well, normally I would. Strange. Strange. Okay, don't listen to that. But anyways, normally they have an easy time winning on any other team. You know, don't intentionally go to your way to pick a hard matchup if you can help it. It's easier just to do something else. Team number 29. Again, this is my Ultron team, and again, carrying 4 characters that are pretty useless these days. Yondu, unfortunately, is not that great, and then we have the other minions here. And as a team, as a Blitz team, really isn't great. So my recommendations would be to kind of lump your Ultron, your Silver Surfer, your Kestrel, and your Doom, you know, around minion characters that can really help get them to win, because, you know, that's the easiest way to use them. Team number 30 is Kree, Minions, and Ronin. Now, again, this isn't super great either, which is why it's kind of on the later end of my team. And now this is where we're getting to the dregs. You know, there's not really a whole lot I can do with this. I put the 3 remaining Sinister Six with Storm and Mantis. This will occasionally win, but you really have to like go up against really crazy random teams like this to pull off a win. But you know, hey, it's better than nothing. And then again, this is really the end of my list here. We got Okoye and Baku and just the leftover minions, and it struggles. I don't even know if they'll beat this. No, so it really struggles at tier 8, so it's very unlikely to win. But normally what I would do is I would use these teams to sort of knock down a tier if you need to intentionally lose. For some reason, these are the teams that are probably going to do it. And now this is my final team here, I'm pretty sure, and this is literally the bottom, the worst of the worst. We have Ravager, Stitcher, Merc Sniper, Hand Archer, Hand Blade Master, and Nebula. Like, I highly doubt I will pull off even this. I doubt it. No, so I can't even do that. So, you know, team number 33, 32, and 31, to a large extent, these 3 teams here really struggled to win, even tier 7 and above. But if you need to use teams to sort of intentionally knock your way down, I would use this to do it. Now, you don't have to use these setup of characters. This is just what I'm using for myself, but I just wanted to show you guys what I'm using. Now, after this, these are my war teams and things like that, so that's not important. So now I'm going to arrange my teams in terms of what I think are the most winnable teams in that order, and see how that changes from this setup. Alright, and we're back, and so I've organized my teams now by who's most likely to win at the top, and going down the way. Now, of course, this is probably no surprise. Black Order wins basically any match that you want to auto-resolve here, or, you know, click the sim button. I keep saying auto-resolve. This is from another game that I play. Team number 2, again, no surprise here. Symbiotes are very, very strong. I have heard that they can actually lose in 8.3 to Defenders. I've never had this happen. Maybe it depends on how high the Punisher is, but do keep in mind there, I have heard in my Discord that happens from time to time. Team number 3, Marauders. Again, my top teams are, you know, they're very consistent here. Number 4, Doc Ock, Sinister Six, also very consistent. You know, of course, don't go out of your way to attack Black Order teams, things like that. You really don't need to do that. Try to pick the easiest team that you can, because obviously it's all about the points. Number 5, Uncanny X-Men, still really strong with Phoenix, and, you know, if there's any Kestrels, don't attack that. 6 here is the X Factor team. So after we've got through most of the other teams, X Factor is actually very reliable for Blitz wins here. Like I said, it probably doesn't matter what this 5th slot is, because I think that Shatterstar and Longshot will carry this. Number 7 actually is my Baron Zemo hybrid. I find that Baron Zemo is very strong as a solo character, and so with the other Hydra characters, normally it's quite easy to win. You know, obviously don't go up against Black Order. That's probably not going to work. But other than that, you know, they have a pretty easy time winning. Astonishing X-Men, also very solid team. You know, as always, you know, don't intentionally go up against Black Orders. Just pick the easier team on the list and just click the win button, you know, and so that just makes it so much easier. Here is the Shadowland team. Now, this is the Nobu variant, so this is actually with the assumption that you're using Daredevil in that team, which you should be soon. With Colleen Wing coming out, you can shuffle Daredevil out of your Defenders if he's still there. Normally, though, I still have a pretty easy time winning. I say that, and I hope I don't lose this one with Nobu, but usually, yeah, there we go. So usually it's not a problem as long as your Night Nurse is a reasonable power level. As Guardians is coming up as well. They're also still pretty easy to win, but again, don't go up against those heavier, newer meta teams. You will probably lose up punching 150k against Marauders or Black Order. And then we have the Kestrel variant. Now Kestrel is really, really powerful, so she is probably able to carry a good chunk of your other members, depending on who you're with. If you don't have the shield minions, then I would recommend slotting Nick Fury in there, and it makes it just even easier, and it's probably like a 100% win rate. You know, I have about, I would say, 90% 90% win rate. Again, don't go up against Black Orders, but clearly they can beat Uncanny X-Men like I showed off previously. Then we have the Silver Surfer variant. Again, a very easy sort of carry here with Silver Surfer kind of carrying 4 other characters. The Doom carry, this is what I call it, and then the Ultron carry. So all of these are really pretty easy to win as long as you don't go up against, you know, those Black Orders. And then from here, you know, it kind of trickles down a little bit. You know, my Inhumans team with Black Bolt, they still win a lot. I would still say 90 to 95%, but I don't know if it's 100. You know, obviously no problems beating Defenders, but I have lost on occasion to other higher meta teams, Marauders, Asgardians, sometimes, you know, when I thought I'd win it. My Fantastic Four team, because I have a higher Invisible Woman, I think this really helps the Blitz auto simming, and usually there's not a problem, but obviously don't go out of your way, you know, to struggle against higher teams if you don't need to. Brotherhood 2.0, still one of my favorite teams actually in the game. I just really like how they work, and they actually do a lot better than a lot of people think they do. So there we are, getting another win for the Brotherhood 2.0. Pimtech coming in next, and after this, it kind of, you know, is pretty obvious, I would say. BKT, they struggle a little bit, you know. Let's see, this is the Young Avengers with Spider-Man. They actually lost, so, you know, BKT does struggle a bit on other teams, so you kind of need to be more cautious about who your opponents are for them, so I would keep that in mind there. Defenders also kind of struggle a little. The traditional old Defenders, you know, really struggle. I highly doubt I could beat any of these 3 teams. Let's try this for science. I don't even know if they would. I'm a bit surprised there, because I thought would kind of kill us all, but apparently it works. AIM also is, I would say, 80% win. Don't go up against the higher meta teams if you can help it, and even though I think I could win this in battle, I think the auto-resolve would probably... I keep saying auto-resolve. Auto-sim here. Yeah, see, I didn't think so. But if I actually played that battle, I think I would have actually won that. X-Force, I find, also kind of struggles from time to time on the higher teams. So, you know, go up against the random teams if you can help it, and then that should be an easy win. Wave 1 Avengers, again, same thing. You know, it depends. I think if you were to put Thor in there, it would be a lot easier to win, but obviously that breaks up the Asgardians. Now, if you don't come up against a team that you think you can win, like I said, the easiest thing to do probably is to use one of your weaker teams, or, you know, your level 1 characters or whatever, and then intentionally lose. That way it resets the type of enemies that you can find. So if I really didn't like that, you know, I could go back to my Team 32, or no, actually I tried to win with that already. Anyways, my garbage teams, so let's just go to the back anyways, the Cream Minion, and let's just lose to the Black Order. That would reset the tiers here, and then that way when I go back to, let's say, Team 23, which is my Wave 1 Avengers, it would give me a new list of characters to fight. So if you really, really struggle to find a team to fight, I think that's the best way to sort of reset it. And so obviously this should be a little bit easier to win, right? Right? Okay, there we go. And then coming up is the Young Avengers, or whatever you want to call this, the Young Avengers hybrid, Hero Brawler hybrid with Miss Marvel, my Power Armor, my Shield team, Shield Minion team with Nick Fury. Mercs, depends on how high your Taskmaster is. I do find that Mercs struggles still from time to time. I mean, I don't even know if I could beat this because of Punisher. Okay, maybe I did. Okay, so maybe I underestimated Mercs a little bit, but I have lost, you know, my share of battles with the Mercs, surprisingly. And then Supernatural, you know, they're not super meta anymore, so you kind of have to go for those sort of random teams, I think, to win with Supernatural. Don't go up against any of the higher meta teams. Same with Red Skull. Red Skull normally wins. I think they do better in actual battle than they do in The Sims. That should be fun. Nope. See, wow. You know, I bet you I could have won. I definitely could have won this had I actually played the battle. So really surprising here that sometimes that Red Skull loses more, which is why he's sort of at the back of the pack for me. And then of course what's really at the back here is the Cream Minions and the leftover bench scrubs. So yeah, that's my teams in order from what I think is the best in terms of winning rates. And hopefully some of this helps you guys out. Now, there's a lot of characters in the game, so you're going to have to organize your own teams the best you can. You know, if you guys ever need any help making suggestions for Blitz teams, you know, feel free to reach out to me and I can, you know, help if you need it. But I just wanted to share with you what I'm using for my teams, especially since I'm someone who has all the characters unlocked. Also, you know, if you do have a little bit of extra resources, I would recommend, you know, even gearing them up to like level 40, level 45, you know, each of the sort of non-minion minion characters. That way it makes it easier to keep them balanced for a Blitz team. Because if you really want to kind of push your Blitz score, then part of that is going to have to get more teams and up to a reasonable level, at least where you can sort of win in Blitz. So, for example, you know, if you're someone newer and you don't have... I don't know what's the best thing to... Let's say X Factor, you know, you just unlocked Polaris, but she's sitting at level 1. I would still try to get her to, like, level 50, something that's a little bit more balanced, and she's not, like, sitting there at level 1 with 100 power. You know, it's not really going to help the team much, and it's not going to bump up that extra Blitz score for your Blitz. So, you know, if you have some characters that are part of these teams, and they're not leveled, just try to bump them up to a reasonable level, level 45, level 50, you know, with some reasonable investment, like tier 8. You know, it doesn't cost too much to do this for a single character. It's like around 700,000 gold, I think, which maybe sounds like a lot, but it's less than a day's worth. And if you do this to just kind of fill out your teams a bit better, that will allow you to produce higher scores on your blitzing when you're doing this. And especially with Colleen Wing's Blitz coming around, which I think will probably be next Thursday, maybe, you know, this is a character that you're going to want to help, you know, push your scores a little bit higher for. Since the 100 shard unlock characters are a little bit more difficult to unlock, and you're going to need to get either at least one 45 shard reward here. Now, this is the Orb Assault, so I can't really show that. I could go back to the Thing Blitz, which was recently, but if you go to the rewards, for 100 shard unlock, you know, you get 21 from the milestones, and you're going to need to get at least the 45 once to not have to spend cores. Now, if you just do the 11 to 25% twice, that's 25 plus 21, that's 46 shards, times 2 blitzes, that's 92 shards, and you would have to spend some cores on the orb that will be there for Blitz characters in order to unlock them. So that's specifically for 100 shard characters, but you know, otherwise, if you can manage a 45 shard at least once, then that'll get you the unlock without having to spend cores. Either way, both methods are fine. I just wanted to share my Blitz teams with you guys to hopefully bump up your own scores when these new character blitzes come around. And, you know, this might help you out for future events that require a lot of blitzing. Anyway, so I hope some of this helped, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if your teams are wildly different from mine, or if there's any other tips that I kind of missed out that I think that you should be doing for your blitzing. Let me know all of that down below, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you know, please smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, until next time, guys, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylan signing out.